Oh, should I make an announcement?
At least, that's what I was asked here to do, so figure I'd talk about the book first. There is a piece in the book about the gravity car race, but I think if we get to that a little later. You know, I don't have anything particular to say about making the book. Ray was the head of the committee that was organizing celebration of the sesquicentennial, the 150th anniversary of the founding of the town of Monterey. And that group decided that it would be good to do a history book, and I got the job of editor because I had just finished about 3 or 4 years of editing the Monterey News, and I wasn't doing that anymore, and the book seemed like a great project. Ian Jenkins was part of the crew that was core to making the book. There were several people I asked to be here who were heavily involved in making the book, but they're not available tonight. Delight Dodick wrote a couple of the history pieces in the book, as did Kathy Wasyuk, and both of them are not around in town right now. And Maggie Leonard was a big help. She wrote an article about zoning, and she's out of town too. So from the core original crew, you've got me and Ian and Ray. And,
I didn't have much to do with that book.
well, you started the ball rolling with the 150th.
Yeah, right.
The way I remember it. But it's 19 years ago now. Seems like a long time. So anybody got any questions about making the book, or information in the book, or?
Well, we're going to pass around 2 of the books are here in the library that can be taken out, but we just found at the book loft, they have a stack of books to sell. They're brand new. They've been in the warehouse for all these years. And the book loft has generously decided the books are $20 as they were 19 years ago, and $10 of every book sale will go to the library to support our library and our history. So if you're interested in, even people who have the book, now they're buying them to give to their grandchildren, and some people, great-grandchildren. And it's a fabulous book, and nothing since then has ever kept up to date. So we're starting this new history project, and rather than asking people to write articles, we're asking people to come in and do interviews. So we have a lot of people here in town. We started with the people that are in their 90s, and we're working our way down. So every month, once a month, we're going to be here on a Saturday night, and people are going to come and tell stories about growing up in Monterey or moving here, and they're all going to be videotaped and archived so that someday we can all just watch them. So if you have any questions, you can ask me or Mark. Okay, Peter.
Yes.
So one of the things that people have been asking a lot about when they read this book is the gravity races. It's just such a big deal, and people want to hear the story. They want to know about it. They want to know how it started, who was in the gravity races, and there's some wonderful memorabilia that Bill Russell brought that's over there on the wall if you get a chance afterwards to look at it.
The gravity car race was the brainchild of Bill Russell, who's right there.
Well, and you too, Pete.
Well, it was your brainchild, and I just kind of nursed it along. I was living on the Sheffield property at the time in the chicken house. It was 1975 in the spring, and Bill came by, and he had some pictures with him, a photo album of a French dandy named Barty from the early 1900s. I don't know if Mark has these pictures on his computer to put on the screen yet, but I got a couple of them here. This is one. And there's another one that's more characteristic of the pictures that inspired us to do rally carvings. You can pass this around if you want us to do that. Anyway, there were these, independently wealthy, bored, artistic French people who made these elaborate coasting racers and raced them. And there was a bunch of pictures of them. And Bill, showed us the book and said, why don't we do something like this? It'd be fun. So we piled in the truck and we went around looking for likely downhill courses. And we first looked at New Marlborough Road from near the town line going downhill past the old Hyde Farm or the Sheffy Farm and out onto the flats before Rawson Brook. And we went to Wellman Road. From the top of Wellman, we thought about top of Wellman Road, all the way down the long hill to the curve at the bottom over the bridge by the little swimming hole that goes with Gould Farm. And then we went to Wallace Hall Road, and that seemed like the best place because it had a good steep start to it, so you get going fast, and then there was some flat, and you had to kind of ride it out. And then it went steep down again, and a really tough turn at the very end. So we decided that was it, and that we would do this. And there's some evidence in the film that you'll see that there were 3 entrants like 2 weeks before the date of the race, and then there were finally 7. So everybody's working at the last minute. And I think it had, I have to read it from the book, but I think it had only one rule, or just 2 rules. No brakes and a weight limit of
250 pounds.
300 the first
275.
275.
some number. Some number of pounds.
275, car and driver.
Yeah.
Car and driver couldn't exceed.
Car and driver, right. Anyway, then we ran the race.
I forget how we weighed them. Somebody brought a...
That's you. That's why.
Well, no.
I'm telling you, that's you.
My grandfather.
You're gonna have to,
Okay.
I
All
can't
right,
hear
I'll go sit beyond the...
Go sit there.
And I'll be able to sleep. I'm just
Oh.
going to trip on the cords here and do all sorts. No, this is...
The thing was that it really stuck, and it went on for the next 10 years consecutively. Every Labor Day weekend on the Sunday, we would have a race. And it was just great fun, and it grew up over the years. By the 3rd or 4th year, by the middle of it, the fire company was kind of helping to sponsor it. And we had an ambulance parked off to the side by the sharp turn at the bottom of the course, which we never had to use. Nobody ever got hurt, although Fletcher Brock once, did a perfect 180 over the hay bale, after hitting the hay bales near where the culvert goes under the road by the brook. But nobody ever got hurt, and later in the races, it was late summer, so the fire company would sell corn, and I don't know what else, corn and hot dogs.
Oh, and hot dogs, yeah, the whole thing, you guys
Yeah.
had it set up, so it became a big money.
And, it got very popular. People were
It's never too...
lining the banks to watch it. And anyway, one thing that happened that first year was that my friend Mike Ansell filmed it. And we have that film, which I think most of you have never seen. It's really kind of fun. Mike Ansell lived here at the time, and now he lives in LA. And this was filmed with equipment that would be in a museum today. He had this big box on his hip, heavy camera. He's doing what I could do with my phone now. And he had to have it transcribed on some relic machine to get it into this form. But he did all that. And he just, in the last week or so, put this together for me and dedicated it to our friend Al Silverstein, who died a couple of years ago, who you will see a lot of in the movie. He walked around with a mock microphone, except it was a real microphone. It was a lot of fun. So Mark, you gonna run this thing, or? Oh, yes.
No? Want light?
Looks like it
Did
needs-
we lose something? Oh, no.
You ready?
It was all set there.
Should I do this?
Yeah, I mean, just, well, it says a plus.
Okay, I got it. I should, I'd like to back up a little bit to the beginning. We might have missed the beginning. The beginning is just a shot of first poster.
If you can build a robot, you can make this work.
There you go.
She's in my life. I need to wait with her.
Yeah. It is.
Here's the poster. See your all season with threads out there.
Who's that?
Don't know.
A long hair.
This is all about hair.
There's a lot of hair in this thing, I tell you. Last minute to repair. There's Kurt's machine, right?
With the basket, yeah. That's Kurt's. That's Kurt?
Is that Kurt Holter?
Yes. There's a beautiful car. It's a figure 8 loosely joined in the middle for suspension.
The twisting suspension is a great idea.
How come we don't get the sound?
I hear it, but maybe the volume isn't up. That's Jed, isn't it?
That's Jed. Can we get more sound? Because there's a whole soundtrack that goes with this.
I'm hearing something, but
I
just,
think you have to set up speakers.
No speakers?
That's all the volume that comes out of that thing.
That's Jeannie Mercier. She drove the Blue Hill downhill racer. Gravity car.
maybe if you try just to go to YouTube and see if you
I
can.
do apologize.
That's Bill Engel.
Yeah?
The guy with the hair there. Bill Engel.
Oh, it's too bad we don't have sound.
I can pause it and put it.
Try pausing it.
Because they got the steering wheel.
Yeah, I don't know. He's gonna be.
Not right up top, there's not a volume button on the top of it.
When did this, you guys start this, 75?
75, that was it.
We didn't get into it until the early 80s.
Yeah, because, I was trying to do it, at that time I was working in New York, and I was trying to pull the posters together and get, stuff out up here, and, I didn't really have time to do it. And finally I said, you guys are getting built up, that is pleasure for me, and you guys can do that.
Is it started? It's for the marbles. It's for all the cake.
This is the starting date here, boy, it's primitive, huh?
The starter's pretty primitive too.
The little little stick here. This is great. Hey, boy Carlson with the shotgun to start.
There was a motorcycle that would take off with a stopwatch, right?
Yes.
Pretty much something like that, yeah.
Well, how many cars raced against each other, or was it just against the time?
I think
Yeah,
it was
time trial.
It was
time
both
trials,
sides.
three time trials.
Over there in the cockpit, I see number 12 strapping on her helmet. It looks like a blue logging helmet.
I would say that's an orange logging helmet, personally. Number 12 looks like a mighty tough
Is that Bill Brennan in the background there?
Tension is building. The tent, I can feel it. Look at this crowd, they are tense. I did. I got it a little warm.
American NASCAR would accept that.
I think it's really fun to let the girls together now.
What do you think?
It's getting close. When I see that thing flash by, I'm just gonna, you what? Let me, because some of these are old blanks. I'm ready. Hold it up. Mr. Driver. Anytime? Okay. They're on my best racing star I've ever seen. She leaped right off the line. I could see it with my own eyes. She thinks she'll have a good time, that's right. Oh, she'll do real well. Yeah, she might have to push a little on the flat, but she's going to handle the corners real well. Right. And that's important in this race. I mean, how do you relate to gravity yourself? I'm in favor of it. Yeah, well, that's all I can say. Well, that wraps it up from the starting gate at Peter Marquette. Wes, I mean, did you think you made good time going down that last lap? Did you open her up? I did everything I could. If you've been watching, you would have noticed that I was grinding my teeth and chewing my gum. Something in black, mid suede, leathers. I got one car getting ready. Not much happening here. What do you think? There's someone on the hands of the stars now. Did he let
Keith Lovelace?
I think so.
Steering with his biceps.
He's got a very unorthodox style. He's going to look like he's going to come to the right of the track. Look at that. First drive of the driver came down to the left. Peter went right from right here. He's down. He's down on the left side of the track. He's going with everybody else. That seems to be the way to go. Now he's taking that turn. It was great. It was a great start. It really was. Actually, it was slow, but that's good. It's a slow. So what do you think about the under 130 time limit that everyone's shooting for today? Gravity City. Yeah. Over there with your cameras, recording everything you do and say. Nice talking to you too.
What's your house?
Orthodox, very strange one. Nothing inside.
Do we know any of these people?
Yeah, we do. This guy can't remember his name.
First trader, good luck. I think if we turn it like this, there'll be less street on the back wheels. How are they gonna get, that's right, they'll make it.
Peter, that's not you with the microphone, is it?
It's the back wheels.
That's Alan Silver's.
Alan
I
said,
mean, that's for when the back wheels. You think about just talking to a vehicle.
At the end of the gravity car race, after 10 years, the winning time was like 55 seconds or so. And that's a half a mile. Yeah.
55 seconds,
It's in the book.
Peter Marquette's was a double-edged vehicle, so it was made in shape.
So it means that from a standing start, you're going well over 30 miles an hour at some point down the hill.
Right.
Probably 40,
It's like a pre-soak, you know?
45 maybe.
Thanks. Electric chain. He's strapping up to his helmet now.
Is that
Plus,
the
overall, it's made by
helmet?
John Cleveland out of Monterey. Really fine. It's $20 a pair. $15 for sure. This box 320 more before I'm on.
That's going to the Wallace.
Yes, I see. I see somebody from Wellman here too. Yeah, that's
I
right.
think it's simply fantastic. Phantasmagoria.
Bill Raymond.
Here comes the timer. What was the time? Timer? 1:57.
A slow time, slow time.
Keith Loveless.
Keith Loveless. He's a Peter Marquette with 142. Still has a Weeks on the first tee. This is the number 4 vehicle. Starter. Same position. Start the whole thing on the street. Alright. It's all in the hands of the starters now. Alright, starters.
There's no way they can move.
The finish starts in gravity car racing. Pick it up. Okay.
Hey, Red Dog.
We gave him the mulligan.
Are you ready on the motorcycle? They're ready down there. Okay, getting ready? 1, 2, 3.
There we go. Oh my gosh. Right, he actually took that photograph. Oh boy. I had an epic
Yes, we
sale
know.
myself.
What do we prognosis say?
That's not very good joint with the well.
It's an NVG joined together with the well. That's not very good one. We're letting what's part of it.
Is there anybody else wants to? We can't take that. There's no way we can. No, we got to get there.
All right, we're gonna have a. Looks like you're taking effect in the shop. Okay, as we get ready for the start, we got a few words.
Anybody know
A few
who this
words.
is?
Yes. He's got a big
That's,
smile. He's got a few words. And his eyes are open wide.
That's the Stockbridge building inspector,
Okay. Wait for the timer.
Ned. Ned.
1, 2, 3 here.
I believe it's Ned, yeah.
When the gun goes off.
I can't remember what his last name is.
He's very funny, if people know what he says.
Very flexible machine here. Do you think that's going to add to your speed, the flexible?
Yeah,
Hey, Mark.
I believe this is
Can you still see that one?
No, well, this was designed a year ago. It's been through the planning stages, came up with development. This is about the 6th prototype.
Working down in Florida in those big buildings?
Yeah. We went down a 4-story building last week. It was very successful. We decided after that we'd blunt the nose rather than point it because we had a lot of trouble getting the back wheels in the ground after we hit.
This is excellent. Thank you.
Yes, this is.
Elliot Ness should know about these things. Do you think you've done them?
He's been trying to catch me. No, the Dunhams are important.
They're very important. They look like
I only use these for gravity races.
specialized hand grips.
Yeah, I don't think you've ever seen it before.
Can you tell us? Don't expect anything special from these grips.
From these grips.
From these hand grips.
Only if I swallow.
We don't have a lot of money down there. But that's very accurate, especially right there. Optical illusion. That's good. It's fishy. Torch.
Torch, flex, right. This is the RTA, the gravity car.
Reverse camper. I think reverse campers.
It does. So do I.
Are you gonna pump for extra speed on the straightaways?
Or should I pump? I can't answer that. Now, you won't get me into that. I'm a clean driver. Always have been.
Is it an X-rated or a PG vehicle? 8 minutes, 27 seconds for that last entry. That's good. Okay, take the corner. Is the starter here? It's getting close. What do you think about this start? Will it be a fast one? It will. No more trouble with the gate. He's going downhill. He's taking the inside. He's about to, he's got it under control. What do you think about the three-wheel in the back, two wheels in the front, one wheel in the back, or two wheels in the front and one in the back?
That's too much of an order for me. Let me see. The two wheels in the back and the one in the front seem like a pretty good deal.
Yeah, I think
I don't know why you take me as an authority for it. First race I ever saw.
You're right over here.
I know, right?
Already, plenty of eyes here. They look like it.
It's great. Oh, that's the word you don't need.
148 and a half on that last one, a pretty fast time.
What was Peter's time?
Peter's time 142.53. Fastest time for these on the starting line with a highly developed, perhaps pre-Egyptian racing car. Any words on the construction, Jeff?
Well, I noticed that there is a impromptu braking system there. Radials against rubber.
Radials against rubber, yes.
This could prevent traffic.
Do you think there'll be any complaints?
Well, I can't comment on that.
A comment upon your braking against rubber system. Radials against radials. Any contest that may be.
Well, as long as you don't mix your steel belted with your nylon, you're okay. But you start mixing it, there's a big nylons, big stones, and you gotta keep everything clean here. You don't want any accidents, yeah.
Keep recycling.
Yeah, there's an element of risk involved that we don't want to talk about. We just play out those things, especially when we can't get insurance. Yeah, this is a very high risk, high casualty sport.
Listen up. Good run.
It's in the hands of the starter.
Off, fast.
It's a good one. It's a good one. He's staying low. If he keeps that pace, he'll beat the mark.
Seems to be it now. They look like the crowd's getting restless.
Balance.
This is down the end of the
They're
course.
moving off to the sides. I think we can expect a race coming down any moment now. Meantime, we're right down here at the finish line. We're not just actually down at the finish line. Just a few stragglers, one pitch stragglers hanging around down here. Mick, what's the significance of this race? We've been around the circuit now. Well, I think this is the big one. I mean, there are races all over the country, but this seems to be it. I mean, they've been practicing. Started out in Jersey City.
Jersey City, yeah.
Jersey City 250.
Right.
At least 250, 275, 280.
Get out of New Jersey.
But then Schenectady, they've been all over Rochester, Niski unit. Niski, the big Niski, right?
And bowling much lately?
No bowling.
Well, that had to hear from the finish line where there's really not too much excitement.
Wait.
Let's see.
I think we can expect something any moment now. I hear the sound of the motorcycle.
They're coming.
The timers are coming.
Get up, truck.
Big pickup. Big pickup. Well, this is the moment.
Any words from the timer? Yeah, it's 140. 141, 142. Oh, that's close. I mean, that's a heat.
I'm here with the timer. It's a dead
I mean,
heat.
that's an absolute dead heat.
I think we have an interview here.
An interview. Hey, that was a dead heat. What are you talking about?
I think it's great. I'm very excited.
Talk to him.
Well, I didn't follow
You seem to have...
Jerry Martin in the background.
Yes. Terrific out. We were here and we caught it on the camera. That's the best thing. Gee, I didn't there with the on comment.
I think he looked terrific.
He looked terrific.
Terrific. The leather helmet certainly added something to it, don't you think? And the sunglasses, his costume was so
there. It was perfect. Very good.
Very.
I agree.
Oh man.
Any other comments? Oh, woman. What you fuck Peter here? Ariel with a 138.2. Is that the time for your name? Exact time?
138 is what I heard, the 210, I don't know where that came from.
I think that's mine. I just went down on that last time. That is good.
The last turn was not as good as the first turn. Had a little trouble coming around there. My feet caught on the rocks, you know. Had trouble. But we came out all right.
How long have you been training for this one? This is the big one.
Oh, 3 or 4 years. Not longer than that.
But in this unit in 1973, you only got a 157.6.
That's true. That was a different car, though. It was not as good.
And what did you have for breakfast this morning?
For breakfast this morning, I had 2 fresh eggs, boiled, soft.
Word has it that you had some bacon along with that.
It's not true.
Not true. Okay, that ended. Okay. It's important to remember, Al, what Vince Lombardi said. Run for daylight. Run for daylight. Keep on trucking. Right, Keith is coming down. I think it's real important that everybody here is trying to win. No namby-pambies in this game. But I think they're all waiting for Keith to roll through the last turn. We saw Peter Marquette set a new track record, 138. 157 on the first tee, trying to shit it maybe around 20 seconds off that first. The starter. He's over. Number one's coming down. Okay, he's moving across the line. Beautiful. Okay, here we go. All right. What's the time? 1:42.5. Good time. He looks a little woozy, but I think we can lock him over here to the microphone. You know, this isn't just when he's speaking, you know. It doesn't speak. The fact that his lines here must have been that fall from Miami, 13th floor. Where did I lose the half second? On the third turn coming around. I don't know, he's a little shaken up. Yeah. A few words. Huh? A few words on that one there. Seriously. What is it? Devastating. Devastating. Bumpy. I'm sorry, the third one has something to do with that nasty comment you made before. I have to leave. Thank you.
Yeah, I was, made it
Got out of the races.
had a drug.
You feel bad?
Feel very bad. But good that it's a good race. Feel good it's a
We
good
heard that
race.
you were really had a good racer there. You were
Oh, yes.
competitive.
Oh, yes. Would have definitely been in the contention.
Something about the fusion of these two vehicles and yours and the front and rear axle exchange.
Well, since my front axle was no good and Kurt's rear axle was no good, and I'm out of the running, he's taking my rear axle and he's gonna, well, probably barn string is gonna get it. We'll see how it
It looks. We want the time.
Oh, no, he's still got hip rear axle on. I think he's got a good shot.
It's the pace car. This is our 35th memory of the day.
Motorcycle, gravel,
We're up here on the leafy knoll, high atop the finish line, waiting for Blue Hill Lodging to come down. This is their third heat, their final try. She'll have to have a low score this time to even hope for a first place or a second place. She's up there at 142 now, and 138 is the score to beat. I think she'll have to beat it to win. Deborah Laird, any comments on the undertones of this race, the pre-thought planning?
Track.
second bet.
It's important to note, Big Al, that these drivers are out there trying to win $70 as a $10 entry fee.
Yeah, it's a lot of cash to take home a bus. Not too many groceries, but it'll put some food on the table, and the knives and forks will be able to be used and get it out to the people.
I think you put it really well there, Al. But we also have to remember that these guys out here, the little kids destroying the track, I think. Frisky little buggers.
Let me get in.
With that. All right, here comes the timer. This should be Keith Wallace.
Ben, why don't you call it from racetrack?
Okay. Here we are at Rayside. I love it. This is the best. This is the biggest event of the year. It all started back, I guess it was in May when Billy Russell came by the house and said that he wanted to get this race going. And up until about 2 weeks ago, we only had 3 entries. But here he comes. Here comes Peter. That's time. And hey! God damn it!
Hang on.
Yeah! Made it again! But I bet it was a little slow. Gotta go down and check it out.
He lived to tell the tale.
Let's go down and find out the official time. There's excitement down at the finish line, folks. Everyone's excited.
These guys have heart, Al. I mean, there's no doubt about it. A lot of courage, guts.
Jim excited. Jim's out at the track.
Let me tell you what Peter looked like in that run.
Jim, sit to us. 138, man. What? Sounds like a 138?
All right.
There
That's
is that
what's that
there?
right now, Al? That's
There is
138.
that.
38,
Yeah, oh my
42.
Yeah.
The official time run.
Here comes the case. Here comes the timer. All right. How's it look, Brad? Tension is building down here. Tension's building. Coming into the... Is this rig coming down? Keith is coming down now. Okay. This is a bit important heat for maybe first, but definitely second place.
I see Jerry Felton's coming to the booth.
We're on this big turn here, overlooking the finish line. Yeah, it's a little windy. Al, do you think the wind will affect anything?
I don't know, he's pretty low to the ground. He's moving.
All right, here he comes now. This is Keith. He's coming around the turn. Number one. This is for first, maybe second place. Good turn. Fast and low to the ground. Not too much wind resistance. Al, I don't think the wind played too much of a part that time.
When you stay low to the ground,
Here we are. We're down here with Matthew McGonigal, a famous Scottish racing car driver. Matt, do you have anything like this in Scotland?
nothing like that one. Well, that one is strikes fire walking down. We never had nothing like that. You know, in Scotland we have quite a bit different racing, you know. The weather is a bit like this all year round. It's a lot more greener. Like greener more. I don't know how you chaps say over here, you know. Moss. Well, yes, we have bogs. Do you have any bogs over here? Do you have experts on bogs? I'd like to meet an expert on bogs. I'd like to compare notes on it. I'm John. Hello. You know about bogs? Oh, yes, I do. Matthew. Hi, Matthew here.
This is a big race. Everything has led to this point. What do you think of it?
I don't see anything quite like it.
Do you come here often to the races?
I haven't seen you since we was in Scotland. How are you? Just speak, we're talking. Get a quirk. It's good burning wood. You can tell a lot of room for air. Now, review the things you need in the fire. A bit of things is air, fuel, mixture, heat. And heat, you take them and set it in hand with 2 eggs. Beat the eggs. Come over around the house, we'll send you some of this wood. Split it, cut to any size you want. Load it on your pickup truck, $5. You know. I see the official scorer walking down the track now.
That's on YouTube. If anybody wants it, you just email me and I can give you the link. Or you can get the link from Mark here at the library.
I think it stands the test of time, that film.
So why did you stop doing the races?
Went on for 10 years, and I think we got tired of it. I know I did. I raced that first year, and I raced the second year, and I totally did not do anything. I was like the guy with the car that dug into the hill, and for the 8 years after that, I was a race bureaucrat, and I was organizing it and all that stuff. I didn't race again. Lanny raced a bunch of years. You were in the middle somewhere, right?
No, I came back in '80, so it was the last 3 years, last 4 years.
Yeah.
John, you
I
raced
wasn't in
once?
on any of the earlier ones. I wasn't living around here.
Yeah, I raced once. And,
Yeah, you were. Just once?
well,
You raced
no, maybe
once.
more than one.
Yeah.
Same car a couple times,
Yeah.
at least. I had this idea that, there were three-wheelers, but then the idea was maybe you put the single wheel in the front, which there was a discussion about earlier in this one, and then keep them really low to the ground. And so Roger, Tryon, and Roger, we went to the dump and we found an old swing set and we ripped apart the swing set. And then we just took a bicycle, the front end of a bicycle, and welded it onto the frame that we made. And we went up the night before the competition and we had the best time going until Lanny showed up. Do you remember that? That night you did the time trials the night before.
Yeah.
And you and somebody else had three-wheelers, but yours was slightly off-center.
Yeah, mine was the only offset. John
we
Dunn,
came in-
Bobby Stevens, and I.
Engineered for the turn.
And engineered for the turn. So we came in third and you guys took
Yeah.
first and second.
Right.
Well, for the second year, a kid who's now a chefy, Mark Ellertman, who's now a doctor in Baltimore, was probably 14 years old or so.
Not 12, maybe.
12.
Yeah.
And he decided that he would go down the hill on his two-wheel, 20-inch kid's bike with the chain off. He said, it's, no brakes, that's the only rule. And he did, and he went awfully fast, and it was scary as hell to watch him, I don't know. And he won the second year. So then we revised the rules, and we said it had to be handmade, which kind of always been implied, but never stated. And then for a bunch of years, I think Bob Stevens' crew won in a row.
Yeah.
They
The
built
three-wheel.
these three-wheel vehicles that were pretty fast.
Mhm.
And then, Bill, you won in the 6th, I think?
Yeah,
You must have won
I
in
won the
between.
last year.
Yeah. The 6th and the 10th.
Yeah, right.
And, it's so, I mean, I was looking up finding the posters and stuff, but right sitting on my windowsill is the trophy, which I still have, and I should have brought it down because it's missing from the room here. It's great. Pete and I, we found some walnut bits, and Pete turned it for me on his treadle, I think.
Oh, I didn't
And
know
we
that.
got
I forgot that
The
part.
Derby.
and the Derby is on the top, and the miracle is that we made that by the third year, maybe third or fourth year, but it went to the winter, and then they kept it until the next race and brought it back, and it's a miracle that it lasted, and I actually still have it, and it's got a, an engraved plaque with all the winners and the times. And you can see it go from Pete to a minute and 38 or something like that.
I won in the slowest time ever.
And yeah.
The next competitive times were like 40 seconds faster than I was.
Well, we got to win, but then when Ray's crew got going, then the road started getting better. I mean, because we were really fighting the rocks on the road. Then he drove the grader down.
Yeah, miraculously every
That's
year.
the fastest time.
Yeah,
ever
well, the
recorded.
turn got better and better.
What was the route?
Oh, really?
Where did they
So there was a
originate?
Right out here on Wallace Hall, by the
faster
farm,
time
at the
was
top of Wallace Hall
recorded
and
than just the
down to
winter
the
time.
river.
Yeah, that was it.
Right out to
55,
Sandusville Road, about
That's cool.
a half,
Pass it around.
three-quarters of a
Yeah,
mile,
they can do this.
to the top of the
Is that
hill.
your time? Is that
Yeah.
your car?
And it drops down, you hardly notice it.
Easy.
There's,
It's-
it's just an old drop-off dirt road, and it goes very steep.
It's
And
on
as Pete said,
It's
and then
on
it flattens
55
out,
This
a
is.
little steep, and then another flat. It's a great racing route.
Sandusville Road, yeah.
Lanny? Did you build the machine yourself?
So if you go out to
Or were you with
Sandusville,
Bob Steve?
Right.
Well, we built them all together.
about a mile, there's a farm there, another farm.
John Dinan.
Used to be
Who?
It was
red.
Bob Stevens, John Dinan, and me. It's Beartown Mountain Racing.
Yeah, Beartown.
Remember the wheels they made?
Oh, they had some wheels. The discs,
The
you had to go out
monocoques.
with them in, right?
Yeah, monocoque wheels.
Yeah.
It's the only thing that would stay together. The turns would destroy it.
Yeah.
Bicycle wheels aren't designed for a sidewalk. You can fold them right under. The first year we ran, I think each of us, we did 3 runs each, and we went through 3 sets of tires each car, through 9 wheels, in 3 runs. So every run you bent the wheels. So we had 9 of them all made and a couple spares. I think.
That was where the team, you guys got the team effect going. That was good, that was good.
But yeah, we had some good stuff behind us, a lot of long brow. That was
Oh, that's
nice. Where else? It was I wish Roger was here. He was the funnest part every year. Because every year he crashed bad. And he did. We kind of look forward to it. It was fun. I mean, and you were saying, nobody ever got hurt, and that's true, nobody ever did, but there was a lot of crashes and some pretty serious stuff the week before.
Oh, yeah.
Before the bales were up or anything, and a lot of guys crashed. I did several times. Roger, it was a given. I knew he was going.
Is that why he's not here tonight?
I don't know, it could be. But there was some good ones. I went right off the bridge into the river, and when I woke up, I was on Bobby Stevens' kitchen floor up in Beartown. Yeah, they dragged me up there, and that's where I came to. I was out for half an hour or so. Ready to start all over.
I hit the hay bale the fastest you could be going. I thought I was gonna win too. And somebody had crashed on the run before me. This is the 3rd, 4th, 5th year maybe, and I had my wheels, I finally got the wheels working right, and I had the front end, that thing was running great. And I thought I had it, and somebody crashed on the run before me. And the hay bales never got really put back in place. And this was maybe the last run, and I had my line, but I'm all comfortable coming through the turn, and all of a sudden there's this hay bale in the middle of my line. And I hit that thing, and I went over the steering wheel. Completely, I was upside down in the air. My sneaker had been pulled off by the wishbone. It jammed in like a boot remover. And I remember, upside down, I looked over and I saw my shoe in the air, and I hit the ground and scrambled, picked up the car, ran across the line, but it wasn't enough. I was so annoyed. And then I realized, hey, I might be actually, what happened to me? But no, we never really got it. Bounced well, I think is the way. We bounced well.
A lot of cars were carried across the line.
Yeah, well, I was one of them. I thought, I still can run across the line. Didn't work.
And at the end, people don't realize, but I know, the last year, the next to the last year, I had three of my buddies, all professional race drivers. They came up and they were just blown away. They couldn't believe it. And but Bruce had brought his handheld with him, And I know myself, and I think John was the next fastest that year. And in that one, the long, you started down the hill and you made the first right-hander, and then it kind of leveled off, and then it pitched again. And by then, that was the fastest part of the course. And he caught us with the radar gun at 70.
No kidding.
Yeah, 70. John was 68, and I was 70. So those things, at the end, we were going fast. There's no question about it. We were definitely going fast.
Beautiful shots.
And it was what, 0.6 of a mile, right?
Half a mile is
I
what
think,
I
yes, it was 0.6. And we ended up doing it
Yeah,
in
this is what they've got.
55 to
He
60
must have had
seconds.
150 starts down here.
Yeah, from a standing start, right? So,
There's the race team. These are great. These are terrific.
it's unfortunate, I asked around at one point and nobody ever got pictures. It's like of all the people that were there, I got those from Bob Foster's wife. She was probably the one person that took the most pictures. They were there every year, because they always entered her car towards the end, Foster's. And she took a lot of pictures, but all the other people I asked, trying to get, nobody ever had any pictures. I mean, I didn't. None of us did.
Who we driving for North Foster, Dale?
Yeah, unbelievable.
Yeah, I think it was.
Because he probably put it together too.
Yeah.
He was into bikes.
Yeah. Pretty sure it was Dale. Had to be, right?
Yeah, Dale was a guy.
Yeah, Dale was, he drove for,
He brought the tires
Yeah.
and the tubes, and he was always there, a fixture at the bottom, the spare parts and stuff. Yeah, they must, I come across photographs in different piles that people have sent me, and I don't know, they have them archived, and one day, I got one picture of myself winning the race.
Yeah.
What else do I?
yeah.
But there was some great, those are great to see, those, the three-wheeler, those shots are great. Those came from Bob's wife there?
Bob Foster's
Yeah.
wife, she's the one who gave me those pictures.
Nice.
She was the only person I found that had any pictures. She said, I got some, I'll give you some. She gave me those. So, and I heard, I don't know, Ray, you'd be the best one to verify. I heard that like the last 3 or 4 years, there was 1,000 spectators there.
There was a lot. That whole day, we cleaned that whole
Yeah,
bank
yeah,
up.
I mean, I remember it, just solid people.
Yeah.
And I heard the, rumors that somebody kind of went around counting, and they said there was 1,000 people, spectators.
We were lined up somewhere up the hill too.
Oh, yeah, that was the problem, actually, towards the end, because people were trying to walk from the bottom to the top. And at that point, we were at speeds where you were using every inch of the road, and people would be, and you come around the corner, and there's somebody walking with their dog and 2 kids, and it was getting, we were getting a little concerned at the end, because it was getting,
Cows, geese.
I mean, when it stopped, we were at the point where it probably is a good idea that it stopped, but we were at the point where probably somebody was going to get hurt.
Well, I
The
think
cars were
that was one of
getting
the
wicked
things
fast,
that
and it was getting more and more people, and it was
Yeah.
getting more and more congested.
liability, I think
That's
they
it.
call that.
Well, that's what ended it, is pretty much, right? From what I understand.
Right, because those were the days before the insurance waiver for the day, or
Right.
whatever, and I think the town was involved in a way, and every,
No, the
all of us, but I mean,
No.
we all sort of, it was on the town road though,
Yeah.
and I think everybody, we had a lot of fun, but,
And Tommy Andrews told me himself, he said he was on the ambulance squad, he said the last year they decided they weren't gonna come anymore because they were getting scared,
yeah.
because they knew the inevitable was coming. But,
There's your answer, that's how it ended. Liability.
Yeah.
Ruins it.
yep. The American way. But it it definitely could have gone on, and it probably should still go on. But it would have to be much more organized at this point. Which wouldn't be a hard thing to do. I mean, you just gotta keep people off the track, and you gotta, you know. And I was telling Peter, since just in the last 7 or 8 years, there's been a big resurgence of rabbit car racing. I mean, oh yeah, they're all over the place. Connecticut has several of them. They do a whole circuit.
I rode my original car in a couple of
That's
races
right, you
down
told me that.
in Sharon.
Yeah, that's right. You went to the Sharon race. Yeah.
Sharon raced it twice. I went way faster than I was comfortable with. In the old antique. But, and people were competing at a very high level. I mean, in fact, they had 3-wheelers reversed with a 2 in the front, but they overcame everything, fully streamlined.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, a lot of weight brakes, and they were going very fast.
That was paved road, right?
It was, the last 3 times I've raced was on paved roads.
Yeah, I don't know of any that are on dirt, as I asked them.
Yeah. And that's, you know, that's why I love the Monterey race. I mean, the dirt is, for me, that's where you feel gravity the most. You know, the idea.
And at the end, too, at the end, they used to groom that really nice.
Yeah.
Which had a lot to do with the speed and everything else. I mean, there's no doubt about it.
No, when we
That
first
was
started,
really-
there was a grass center, you know, a hump in the road and 2 wheel tracks going down, basically with big rocks.
They grade that thing nice and fairly smooth, and put the calcium down, and, I mean, it got fast.
Put the roller down there, brakes in
It
the
got
corner.
really fast. I was amazed.
They did use a roller.
Yeah. No,
They used to grow it really
tuned
well.
up. Tuned up.
Yeah, it should come back.
Did Hal have a car in there?
Hal Prime,
Yeah.
he was in there.
I think he was.
He was in there, the race that I won, at the Andy was in there. I think I remember him in the, I got a photograph of the chalkboard that had the columns and the racers at each run and the time as it was being filled in as the race went on, and I think he's in that.
I seem to remember him being in one. I was in the 7th, 8th, and 9th, and 10th. I won the 7th, 8th, and 9th, he won the 10th.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys had to run there, Bobby and you and,
John Diamond.
yeah, like 5 in a row, I think you guys went. Had to be stopped. Especially by the outsider.
What was you remember your time in the last race?
It's in the below 55 seconds somewhere, you know, it's down low. What year is that book from? That's 20 years ago, so?
97. 19 years ago, 1997. I don't know where this story is. I always have trouble finding it.
Toward the back.
There it is. 55.466.
That's, yeah.
That's impressive.
All-time
6/10 of a mile from
all-time
stand
record
start.
not to be surpassed.
Yeah.
What
I
was-
can tell you, I did go faster a few times, but not on that road.
Right, well, I saw Glenny's picture, it was
Yeah.
faster, but it wasn't a winning time.
That year it was. That was the 9th.
Yeah.
And Billy,
Yeah, you
Because
guys
you could have
forget
you
what
could have a
happened.
faster run than the winning time.
I did.
One could, that's what you were saying, right?
Yeah.
Well, the picture I showed, that was the winning time that year.
Uh-huh.
Then you took another 3 or 4 tenths off of that the last year, yeah.
Yeah, it got we got to a point where it was really approaching, I think, what we were gonna be able to do.
Yeah.
Really.
Well,
But there's always, you know,
yeah.
that's what we're always after.
We got to the point where everybody was running brakes. I
Yeah.
mean, we had to. We all
Yeah.
agreed that you had to. Nobody would have survived if we didn't.
No. Yeah, I don't think on that, I don't think I ever had the brakes, but finally, when I drove on the pavement, and in the Great Barrington race, it was on Division Street.
Right.
They told us we had to have brakes.
Yeah.
And I had a crooked bent bar bolted on, it rubs up against the tires. But remember, Kurt had the tire treads on his shoes, or they were those Huarache sandals from Mexico, rubbing up against the Flintstone brakes. Yeah.
Well, I would, Roger wasn't here to show us all his scars.
I just wanted to take a moment to get back to the book for a second. Because one thing that's really not appreciated, Peter sort of glossed over it. As you all know, Peter has his shop up on the hill there, we used to. And for I think it was like 2 months before we put the book to bed, Peter cleared off all the tables in his shop, and it was just stacked with papers. And I don't think Peter's gotten the credit for the amount of effort that he put into it and how he sort of sacrificed his work time, quite frankly, to get this book together. So I'm very proud of the book. I think we ran into some interesting issues in putting the book together. Does a book like this try and be a super historical book of what the town used to be? Or do you make the editorial judgment that you want to balance what the town used to be with what the town is at the time? And that was a very real editorial decision that Peter was making. So we were constantly balancing off what we put together within the framework of what we had available. At the time, I was on the board of the Monterey News and had approached Ray about, he was forming the celebration committee, and I approached him about sort of being a liaison between the Monterey News and the Sesquicentennial Committee in order to do updates and publicity for the news. And that's how I sort of became attached to the Sesquicentennial Committee and really cherish some of the memories of our meetings. Not the least of which, I'm going to say one time at a meeting, Dean Amadon said something about second homeowners coming up for the Sesquicentennial, and I remember responding to him saying, some people have 2 houses in Monterey, and you know, so it's not just to be a second homeowner, it'd be a primary resident of Monterey. So there was a lot of good stuff that went on. Anita, you might remember, who was at the Bidwell House at the time, and she put in a tremendous amount of work in terms of some of the historical stuff for the book. I think we tried to pull together, for, as I said, under Peter's choices of editorial decisions, what we wanted to include and what we couldn't include. And so I think that the book became a balance of all those different things. And I think it's held up over time.
It was a great project of discovery, really. The diary starts on page 40, the diary of Elihu Harmon, 1865. I don't remember exactly how we got that, but I would talk to people around town and get photographs and hear stories. Ray's wife, June, was a fabulous source of photographs. I got more pictures from her. As you look at through the book, at the credits, you'll see an awful large number of photographs credited to June Tryon.
I think, look, can I just say something about the photos? One thing that wasn't mentioned in the various names of people who participated was Michelle. Michelle was the photo editor. And she had, in Peter's old shop, he had a side office where he did his paperwork or whatever. She had stacks of these photographs all around the place, and she was picking and choosing what we could use and whatnot. So I think Michelle needs a shout out too.
Yeah. I wish Delight and Kathy Wassick, Delight Dodick and Kathy Wassick had been able to be here, because they were the two people who wrote for the book who had some real qualifications as historians. And when you're doing a book like this, a sesquicentennial book, you're kind of trying to be self-congratulatory and celebratory at the same time as you want to, not try too much to gloss things over and just make it a big love fest kind of party. You want to tell about the town, however it was. I remember there was I don't remember the ins and outs of it, but I think there was considerable discussion about a sidebar that's on page 112, titled Exclusion. It's a short essay all by itself, but it, in searching through records and stuff, there was a cross burning on the hill right across the road here in the 20s, and it was quite a story. It had to do with a butcher who went around, it partly had to do with a guy who went around selling meat off a wagon, and he was Jewish, he was thought to be Jewish, and it stirred up a lot of resentment and racism, and so there was some question of, do you want to put a story like that in this book? And we decided that there's no reason not to. It's something that happened. And, so in a book like this, you're trying to walk a funny line between real journalism and real history and a feel-good kind of presentation. And we tried to get all of that in here. And also, reading the news in the last couple of weeks, you find that, the 20s was a very polarized time in the country, like now. And the KKK and burnings and racism and anti-Semitism. I remember we came across an advertisement from one of the, what's now would be called the bed and breakfast, but the boarding houses around town that would, house people from New York and Boston. It's always been a tourist area, but there were advertisements that said Gentiles only.
It wasn't put that way.
It wasn't?
No, they spelled it right out what it meant.
Oh, yeah? I remember seeing one.
Because I know my house, the house I used to own, on the corner of Fairview and Beartown, which actually is pictured in the book on page 23. There's a line drawing there of the old Bidwell house. It was a Bidwell house. And if you look at the drawing, page 23,
the Upper Village?
The Upper Village. This was my old house, and you can see the church in the background. That was the second church that was built after the Bidwell house, became no longer the church. And that steeple, by the way, was taken down and transported to Housatonic in the 1870s, I think.
I thought the whole church went to Housatonic.
The whole church went?
I thought so. That's what I remember.
But anyway, my point was that the house that I was in, which was the old Bidwell house, belonged to a woman named Clapp around turn of the century, 1900, and it was a boarding house. And we had a brochure from that boarding house, which listed the train schedules from New York and Boston, and then at the very bottom it says, Hebrews not welcome. And so there is a real history there that sort of gets glossed over by how Monterey changed in the 60s and 70s. But one point I want to make is that in researching some of the articles for the book, I went through the Berkshire record for 1847 through the microfilms down in the Masonic Library in Barrington. And one of the things and this directly relates to the sesquicentennial, is I was only able to find one small little paragraph that mentioned Tyringham had divided and Monterey was formed. So that's one of the problems that we had in putting this book together, was what records we had available. Unfortunately, Monterey didn't have a newspaper or recorded history, so they were very sparse information. I think probably the best information of what Monterey used to be like comes from the Hannah Clavina Pixley diary, which some of you might remember that Peter and myself
Fabulous, just fabulous.
that we put together. We published serially, when was that, about 98, 97? Oh no, it was
No, I think before that. It was around 94, somewhere in there.
There is the descriptions, if you can get a hold of a copy of that, of Hannah Clavina Pixley's diary, gives a very interesting description of Monterey during that transition of what it was like right after Monterey became separated from Tyringham. But it was a real problem with getting the resources and materials I think there was more we could have done with the history of agriculture, but Richard Tryon, I did an interview with him that's in here, and he made a very interesting point about the history of agriculture in this town, is you can correlate it with transportation systems. Because in the old days, with very poor transportation, there was a great growth of sheep. The sheep was the main livestock because you could shear the wool, and it wasn't time dependent in terms of transportation. But when you started to get the railroads in the late 1900s, you could ship milk and cream and dairy products down to the city, or to Boston, or down to the city, New York. So that then you start to see a real shift in the agricultural patterns of farming in Monterey with new transportation systems. And then, of course, now you have transportation systems where they grow your hamburgers in Australia and ship it in. But I relied heavily on Richard's memory of the various farms, but I think unfortunately we missed some of the ones that were around that would have added to it. But the point he was making was the transition of agriculture to things like Monterey Shed, which is a transition from the big, heavy agricultural dairy farms over to little boutique farming operations. So I think there's a lot of history here that we were able to put together.
Yeah. Just remind people that we're going to be selling the book, and so let people know they'll be here at the library, and they're $20, and $10 will go stay here at the library to fund some more history projects. Thanks so much for coming.
Thank you.
this used to go down, this is the bird feeder.
Well, no, I remember the last year, that was enough for